Hello, it's Joe here for Joyrider TV. Today we're going to look at some pre-season boat checks that you can do on your boat to give you a bit more confidence in your boat and to reduce the chance of something bad happening on the water. So first, rudder blades. You want to make sure your rudder blades are in fairly good condition, and if you're using a Hobie white knight rudder blade like this one, just check the front edge here to see if there's any cracking on the seam. If there is cracking on the seam, it'd be well worth getting that fixed, or fixing it yourself, or replacing it. With all the places on the boat where there are rivets holding other parts in, like here between the casting and the tiller arm, just check for any movement in there. And if there is movement or corrosion around the rivet, it's worth drilling that rivet out and replacing it. It's well worth having a good look at your rudder stock. Check the rudder pin for any signs of wear in there, any movement, sideways movement. Check out the servicing your rudders video for the whole picture of what you should do. But also the screw that adjusts the tension in the cam, just give that a tweak and check that that can move. If it can't move, then possibly it's time to look at removing that using other means. Check out the service your rudder stocks video. Check the quality of your cam. This one is pretty mangled, so I would definitely replace this before putting it on the boat. This is often overlooked. On your bungs, there should be a rubber seal like this. If there isn't a rubber seal on your bung, the boat will leak, even a small, maybe just a small amount. So do make sure you have got seals on your bungs. All of your cam cleats like this, just make sure they spring back. The springs in the cleats can fail over time, and they can be quite easily replaced. So it's worth replacing your springs if the cleats aren't cleating. It's nice at the start of a season to replace some ropes and elastic. So check the quality of your ropes and elastic, like on the trapeze here, for example. We've just put some brand new rope on here, and it's really given the boat a fresh new look. So that is well worth doing, and you want to be able to rely on your trapeze system. With your J&Hs, if they're looking a bit old and tired, again, replacing them can be a good idea. A quick visual inspection of the trampoline can reveal all sorts of potential problems. Well worth getting those sorted out before you fit it onto the boat. For example, the toe straps, all the eyelets. If the eyelets are looking a bit old and tired, then get those replaced by a sailmaker, or you can do it yourself if you've got the equipment. Of course, any holes in the trampoline, wear around the edges. The bow tangs on the boat, just check that these are done up quite tightly. You get into it from underneath, there's a bolt. It's quite fiddly to do up, but make sure those are tight. If those are loose and wobbling, they'll start wearing away at the fiberglass there. Of course, check your rigging. All of it is in good shape. This is just the bridle wires, but all of the rigging, the shrouds, the forestay, the trapeze wires, the halyards, make sure it's all in good shape. We've just replaced all of our rigging here on our catamaran, so we're very confident that we should be okay. What you're looking for with the rigging is if there's some discoloration here around the bottom of the ferrule, like if it's going rusty, then that's an indication that it might break soon. Also, if you've got cracking appearing on the thimble, this part, then that means that you're not getting the protection from wherever that's joined onto. So again, worth replacing. On average, I should think replacing your rigging once every 3 years is okay, and that should leave you feeling fairly confident and safe. We'll be coming on to the Dolphin striker in more detail soon, but as a check, just make sure the nuts on the top and bottom, or just on the bottom if it's a Hobie 16 or in fact, yeah. Just check that your nuts are tight. If these nuts are loose, the rod can move up and down inside the beam, which of course could cause quite some problems. If your boat's been left assembled, very important to check the bolts that bolt the boat together. Make sure those bad boys are tight. If you've got a boat which has diamond wires, like this is on a Hobie Pacific or a Tiger, or anything at all, Hobie 18, something with diamond wires, check the tension of the diamond wires. If you've left them tensioned over the winter, that tension might have come off over the winter. So do check your diamond wire tension to make sure it is in the right pocket. Check the video on mast tuning for Hobie Tigers. That will cover everything about your diamond wires just there. Like with your rudders, check the rivets that are in the mast, and if any of them are looking really crusty or bad, it might be worth replacing those rivets. We're using a barrier cream here. That's what the yellow stuff is, in between anything that's stainless and anything that's aluminium, because otherwise you do get a bit of a chemical reaction going on, which can create holes in your mast. Here we are with the Hobie 16 Dolphin striker. Not quite so much need to check the nuts on here, but if your boat is in pieces, it is worth just giving it a little tweak. You should see a bit of a change in the colour where the nut was before, and if it's moved, how could that possibly move? But worth looking at if it's moved, and just tighten it up a little bit. Again, we'll come on to Dolphin striker tension in more detail later on. In the base of the mast, replace the mast pivot bearing on the Hobie 16 or 14 or Dragoon. Stop your mast from grinding. And then if you happen to have a spinnaker on your boat, just make sure that there's nothing that is sharp around, especially the entrance of the spinnaker chute. Here we're using spinnaker tape to go over everything that could potentially be sharp, so that there's less risk of ripping the spinnaker. Why not check the ends of all your ropes for any fraying? If you've got a frayed end of the rope, that frayed end is going to become more frayed, and you might not have as much rope anymore afterwards. So if you have got a frayed end, perhaps just cut the frayed end off. If you've got access to a hot knife, that would be amazing. Otherwise, you could either use some whipping or definitely heat sealing to seal up the end of your rope. Don't forget to check your insurance, very important. If your tiller extension's looking a bit tired, especially if you've got a fiberglass one, fiberglass when it gets old can produce quite a lot of splinters, and fiberglass splinters are horrible. So check your tiller extension for any cracking, any splintering. Never run your hand down the fiberglass tiller extension unless you are happy that it's not splintering at all, because that could be really nasty. Well worth replacing that. With the joint where your tiller extension goes on, tighten this bolt up as well. Make sure there's no play there. So thanks for watching. I hope this has been useful and informative. You can help to support the channel actually by heading over to firstly totaljoyrider.com, where I have my online store selling t-shirts, hoodies, and even some hats. Yeah, that's right. You can customize your own t-shirts as well, which is really nice. Or I have an amazon.com storefront where I've got all sorts of exciting things. Thanks to everybody who supports the channel using the Patreon website to do that scheme function system. And if you want to support the channel but you don't want to have to part with any cash, just click on the ads, and that means that I get a little bit back from Captain Google from there. So thanks very much. There'll be more coming soon we're back underway here at Wildwind in Vasiliki in Greece, on the beach with the boats.